Welcome to Love and Money Secrets TV, Michelle.
Hi, Lillian. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
There's some music in the background. Can you turn that off?
Absolutely. Yes, I forgot. Sorry.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I am so happy and excited to have you here
Thank you.
on Love and Money Secrets TV to share. You have quite the story. And oh, your voice, we just lost your audio. Did you accidentally maybe hit the mute button?
Let me see.
No, I can hear it now. It's good now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So you have such an extraordinary story that I am so excited that you took time out of your busy schedule to share with everyone here on the internet and on Love and Money Secrets TV about how you successfully were able to accomplish this manifestation. So why don't we, before we get into the nitty-gritty of that, why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you live, where are you from? Are you married? Are you single? Some of those basics so that people can relate to you.
Yes. I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm married. I have 3 kids. I have a 21-year-old. He usually comes with me to the events. And then I have a 6-year-old and a 8-year-old. So I have 2 littles and 1 older one.
Wow. Okay. And whereabouts where do you live?
I live in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, beautiful place. Love the weather there. It's so gorgeous in Denver.
It is. It's beautiful here. Yes, it is.
So what brought you to Dr. Joe's work?
I think it was just meant to be. I think about 2 years ago, my son and I, we usually listen to something motivational, something that, gets us gets us in a good state of mind when we go to work. So we were both in the car and we just started listening to Dr. Joe, and then we kind of became obsessed, and then the books, and then the meditations. And then this past year, we really hit the events hard. So.
Wow. Okay. And so what was the thing that propelled you to hit the events, to go and to dive in deep? And, it's a big investment of both money and time, to go to the events. They're 7 days long. They're not short. And as you know, they're when you're there, you're immersed 24/7 in the work. So what propelled you to say, okay, let's go?
Yeah, well, first I started meditating, and then I had an episode where I had I don't even have the word for it. I had a meeting with a divine, or I touched the divine. That's what Dr. Joe calls it. I touched the divine, and it was just this unexplainable feeling. It was so much love. And then, I was hooked. It was just a romance now. It's like I keep on showing up, and I keep on chasing the divine. I want more of that. I want more of what I felt that day. And, from early on in my meditations, I was seeing like fractal patterns and colors and just experiencing very mystical moments. So it became kind of like an obsession, and now it's our obsession here in this house. It's, everything's like we get a minute, we put a testimonial on, or we're constantly listening to like Dr. Joe's YouTube channel or on his Facebook page, or reading a book, or I try to personally meditate twice a day. Mm-hmm. I don't always succeed, but that's the goal. To meditate at least twice, but it's become my obsession, and it's there's so much magic in it.
Oh, I will have to second that motion. It's so true. Yeah, there is quite a bit of magic, and I don't think we ever get used to it. I think it's always a pleasant, wonderful surprise, and it brings awe. So let's fast forward now to this year. And I think, was it the Orlando event, or was it the Denver event that you manifested the nice chunk of change?
That was the Cancun event.
Oh, it was the Cancun event. So it was even earlier. So that was in January, wasn't it?
That was the one in June. I think it was
June?
June or
Okay.
yeah, the
Okay.
June Cancun event. That was the one. But
So,
I went to both Cancuns.
okay. So you went to January and June. So now in June of 2021,
Mhm.
what was your mindset, and when you were approaching this event, what were you thinking, and leading up to these, because you had several manifestations of this coming in. So tell us how that unfolded for you. Where were you in your mind and in your heart, feeling? Because feeling is the secret to all of this. It's not
Yeah.
just one. It's you have to feel it as if. So tell us a little bit about how you were as you prepped to go to this Cancun event.
I think I would have to go all the way back to when I started going to the events. I started going to the events last November. So, and in 1 year, I have gone to 5 events, and Denver will be my 6th. So I'll get in 6 events before the year's over. So,
Wow.
so it's I made an investment in myself, and carved out some time for me. And so I think, going to that first event in November, I mean, it's like I can't even explain how magical, how what the energy is in these events. It was the first event Dr. Joe did during COVID. So it was very magical. You have to be pretty hardcore believer to go against the grain and travel and be in the room with 1,000 other people. And I mean, you have to believe, right? You have to believe, and I'm a believer. And so I went to that one, and then I went to the January one in Cancun. And when I went to the one in Cancun, I had set an intention for the event. I like to set intentions for the event. Like, what do I want to feel? What am I here for? Because I think ultimately we're there for a feeling. I mean, sure, people want the money, but it's the feeling of freedom, the feeling of something that you want to chase. So I wanted to feel worthy in January. And that was my intention of just trying to feel really worthy. And Dr. Joe said something real important that really stuck with me, which was, you're worthy because you show up. I mean, some people don't feel worthy because they have pretty low self-esteem, or it's like, it's hard to feel worthy, right? It's like, it's hard. It's a hard feeling to feel if you're not used to feeling it or don't have the highest self-esteem. But Dr. Joe said at one event, you're worthy because you're showing up. That's why you're worthy, because you're showing up to meditate. You show up for yourself. You're worthy. And I really took that to heart. And I said, oh yeah, I'm worthy. It's like, yes, I'm really, really worthy. So, because I constantly show up and I'm there. So therefore I'm worthy. So that was I think that was the beginning of the buildup. And then after the January event, I went to a private event that Dr. Joe held at Quicksmala. It's like, I wouldn't say private event, but it's a very secluded, non-publicized event. And it's in Quicksmala, Mexico. And it was quite an investment for me to go to that one, because it's very expensive to go to. The dynamic's different. It's different interaction. It's more, I mean, you get to be amongst just 50 people. So it's a different event with Dr. Joe. And there, I said to myself, even though this is quite an investment for me at this time, I choose to go because I want to manifest abundance, and I want to manifest, I want to be in that energy. And that energy, and I believe, I will, generate more, and that'll help me generate the feelings of abundance and just being amongst other people like that. So I went to that one, and then I went to the June, and then that's when I had my intention was to manifest a big amount of money. One thing I did, which is very important, that I felt was important, was not to give it a lot of. So when I got to the event, I had a clear intention that I wanted to the intent for the event was to generate abundance. And so I wrote down a number, but I didn't give the energy number, because if I even thought about that amount, I would, fall into lack, because I'm not a millionaire, right? So I'm not used to, like, this is not normal for me. So like seeing those amounts are kind of scary. It's not a, for me anyways, I'm just speaking for personal experience. So to see that number, and to think about that number and trying to create something like that would have maybe put me in feelings of lack. So I just wrote it like nonchalantly, like, okay, 100 grand, here you go. And then turned the page on my journal, and then, started working on it, getting notes in the event. And so sorry, I just kept on going. You want to interrupt me or have a question meanwhile, or do you want me to just go with what happened?
Just keep going, because I love what you're saying, because this, I think a lot of people you're going to help a lot of people in recognizing, because you don't want to add unnecessary resistance to it, to your manifestation unknowingly. And so you, like you said, you didn't add energy to the number. You just wrote nonchalantly, okay, 100K. And then you didn't pay too much attention to the number, because you then focused your energy and the feeling on the feeling, not just worthy, but feeling the abundance and the prosperity, and how just having those funds would make you feel just wealthy and all that. So talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's an important distinction, because I think that's oftentimes where people get caught up, where they have a harder time manifesting money because they put too much, like you were saying, you knew that if you focus too much on the number, you're going to go, oh my gosh, well, I've never had that amount of money. It's like fat chance, who am I kidding? You know what I mean? What the ego, everybody has that same program with the ego. So talk a little bit more about that.
So I didn't want to analyze it, because then my analytical mind automatically kicks in, and then I would start like, well, how is this going to come? And who am I? And, and like, where's it going to come from? And like, if I do that, I know I'm not going to get it. I just have to trust in the divine, that, the divine God has my greatest good. It'll come to me in grace. That's important to believe it'll come to you in grace, and it won't affect anything, because sometimes when we're asking for things, you just ask for things, but sometimes things can go like, you can have a car accident and manifest $1 million from that, because you don't have an arm anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I always ask for it in grace. That's part of what I do now. Like, I recognize that, just come to me in the most graceful manner, and that's perfect for me in the situation that's right for me. I actually learned that a long time ago from like The Secret. Remember that? That was like,
yeah,
I know. So in the perfect way, in the perfect manner, whatever. So so I don't give it energy, because if I think about it, then I start analyzing it. And if I analyze it, my mind doesn't understand or comprehend where it's going to come from. And then I might experience feelings of lack, because then I go to my bank account and I know it's not in there. So I don't even know where it's going to come from. And as soon as I experience lack, I lose the feeling of, those higher emotions, and I get scared. So what the place I want to be at is vibrating high. There's a vibration scale. Shame is on the lowest, and like love and joy are on the highest ends. I constantly strive to be vibrating high, because I know that's the only way I will manifest anything. So that's why I don't give it energy. I don't analyze the number. I don't, because I'll generate some other feelings of lack and scared and scarcity, and I'll go down that path. And I'll remember my past, that, I came from like, we lived in the ghetto in LA. It's like growing up, we were poor. I don't, I'm not used to money. So I think that's very important too. My state of mind was, I was in Cancun. Every time I go to Cancun, my heart just blows open, because come on, one of the most gorgeous places on earth.
Yes.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm Mexican, but because it truly is the
Gorgeous.
gorgeous turquoise waters.
Yes.
It's so mystical there. The culture is so rich. The food,
People are so
like,
happy.
so lush and green. So I was feeling pretty good. You know, I would say I was vibrating on that scale very highly.
Mhm.
So the vibrations, the energy I was sending out was really good to start off with. Going into the event, I just felt so whole, and I felt so happy being there, you know, and I was
Yeah.
amongst my fellow geniuses, and it's like
Mhm.
family. And you know, in those events, there's so much love, and everybody loves on you and hugs you and kisses you, and so
Uh-huh.
warm, and it's a paradise, right? So that's where
It
my
is.
state of mind was. Um, and I think that's important to have that distinction too, you know, because I mean, at least that's where I was for me. So I write it down and I turn the page, and then I go on about journaling about, you know, what's going on, and trying to not forget anything, you know, anything important. And
Mhm.
then the next day, the second meditation right before lunch, we did a meditation, some sort of mashup of tuning into new potentials, because
Mhm.
tuning into new potentials, it was made in 2013 or 2014, I believe, somewhere in there. So it's kind of old. So Dr. Joe and his event, you know, he does a little bit more the of the more like the not the new breath, but you know, like the revised breath, I guess, on how you take it
Uh-huh.
up and how you breathe and how, you know, all of that. So we were doing that kind of revised version, and I clearly remember when I was in meditation, and then, you know, I had set that intention for abundance, and Dr. Joe said, feel it, tune into it. And then all of a sudden my hands started going like that, and I'm like, oh my God, I know I caught something. I just know I caught something. I caught something. Because it's like, you know, I started kind of going like that. It's like, you know, I mean, of course I didn't physically catch anything, but I tuned in. I tuned into that vibration. I was very joyous. And I think that's where, you know, the magic is in. And then, you know, the meditation finished, we went to lunch. During lunchtime, I received one phone call, one text, and one email. And the grand total during lunch, one text, one
All,
phone call,
wow,
one
so you
email.
got all forms of communication, phone
Yes,
call, text, email.
yes, yes. And then I totaled it up, and it was $98,000. And I'm like, you know, I was like shocked, right? Because I'm like, what? Like, I can't believe it. And it's from different sources. It wasn't from one source, but it just collapsed at that exact moment, at that exact time. Like, it collapsed right there. You know, it's like, okay, you know, there it is. And then, I mean, of course I'm shaking, and I'm all like, no, I can't believe it. And I wanted to tell somebody. And then I was like,
Yes.
no, I'm scared to tell people, because, you know, people are funny around money sometimes. And I'm all like, I don't, I, you know, I you know, I want to tell somebody, but I really don't. And, but I can't keep quiet. I'm too excited. And
Me too.
so I found a volunteer, and I told him I wanted to say my testimonial. And then she suggested I go to the audio people and tell them. And then I said, okay, I'll do it later. And then I talked myself out of it, because I'm like, do I really want to put this online? Because it's, people are gonna, you know, I don't know. Sometimes people are funny. I mean, you know, growing up poor, it's like that might just be my belief, you know, that people are
Oh, yeah.
funny around money, or hearing big amounts or whatever. So and then later that day, my husband calls me that I received 2 checks in the mail, and that I'm all like, okay, this is I don't know what's going on. This is cool. And there were from, one of them was like a settlement from like an insurance, like okay, from farmers, and like, I don't know, some settlement from something that happened years ago, and they had to pay people, you know, give money to people, whatever. And the other one was for like a refund from a place called Progressive Leasing, that something I leased like 10 years ago, you know, like I was leasing something. And so
Somehow.
Yeah, somehow, some way. Anyways, I was like $1,700 short, and not too bad. But so, and then, of course, I'm feeling like super, super duper my energy, everything's like super amplified. I feel like I'm walking on air now, because this is just incredible. And then, to make a long story short, by the end of the week, I manifested another $500,000, 500,000 exactly more. So I'm
So
like,
so I'm sure your husband's like, go to every Dr. Joe event, just go, 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 because you can't afford to stay home. Just go, go, go.
I know. And it's like, you remember all those times that I chose them and didn't choose you? Remember all those nights where you wanted something and I was like, I think I got to meditate first, and I want to meditate. I don't think I want to be, remember that? Here we go. This is what we got,
Yeah.
I mean, I say it jokingly, but really, I mean, there's like, you choose to meditate, you
Yeah.
choose meditation over sleeping, over watching Netflix, over playing, over sleeping. It becomes a romance, like once you get a piece of that, it's like you keep coming back for more and more, and you want
More and more and more.
Yeah.
So this is such a wonderful and fabulous story, because you're actually not the only one who's manifested $500,000, as you know, that's a Dr. Joe student, and I think it'd be awesome if you were the first, but I don't know if you recall, when I was at the June 2019 Cancun event, Dr. Joe showed one of his friends who had come to the event, and his husband had told him, it's like, okay, he was doing meditations and he really wasn't getting too many results with things. And he said, well, why don't you try and manifest money? He's like, well, I don't care about money. He's like, exactly. Yeah. That's why you need to do money, because you don't care about money. He's like, okay. He goes, I'll do 5,000. And he's like, don't do 5,000. Do like 50,000. So he's like, okay, I'll do 50,000. But he really didn't care about the money. And he was playing. He really was just playing. And so he went on to play, and then he created, he knew how to do Photoshop. So he did a photo screen on his cell phone. And I think he also did his desktop or laptop. And then he just played with it. And then lo and behold, one of his clients called him up and said, hey, you need to send me your bank routing number. And he said, what do you need my bank routing number for? He said, well, I'm getting ready to sell my company, and you and your partner have been instrumental in helping me grow the business so much that I just want to send you a tiny little thank you note. And he's like, oh, that's nice. But he still didn't even think that this had anything to do with his manifesting 50 grand separate. So he's like, oh, okay, cool. So he just sent the routing number and didn't think anything else about it, kept on doing his meditations. The next thing you know, he has a wire transfer for $500,000 in his bank account. So when his husband called him up, said, hey, have you looked at your bank account today? He's like, no. He goes, open it up now. He's like, well, I'm busy. I'm in the middle of something. He said, no. You don't understand. You need to do it now. So he opened it up, and sure enough, the guy had wired a $500,000 thank you to him.
Yep.
And so he didn't manifest the 50. He manifested 10 times that amount. He manifested the 50. And then he proceeded to give the whole thing away, because he knew exactly what he needed to do to have more of it. And he didn't need it at the time because money wasn't important to him. They were kind of already set. And so he just gave it away, and he's like, okay, I'll do it again. And the rest is history. So I think that is so fantastic, because whether you need it or not is irrelevant. The point is you're able to manifest it. And so, and there's obviously it's an infinite well. There's no limitation. There's no lack of anything anywhere, whether it's health, wealth, abundance, prosperity, worthiness. And so you actually tapped into the frequency. You knew that you needed to be in this space of joy, of happiness, of gratitude, of grace, because it's purely, I love what you said. You want to receive it as in a spirit of grace, because it's a gift. So it truly was a gift. It's like multiple gifts that added up to
and going back to lack, it's like I see like a lot of like for me in the past, you know, when I was really trying to manifest, like when I was in lack, really trying to manifest hard, is like, oh, I need this, like I need this, and I just have so much negative energy, you know, like since the book The Secret, you know, I've had a lot of ups and downs, but all this money came to me at the in a moment of time where I don't need it, you know. It's like, oh, like I don't even need it. It's like, you know, am I like, yeah, it came to me, and when it came to me when I don't even need it. Why? Because I was used to feeling, you know, like, you know how you have to become it and then it'll, you know, you'll attract it. So I was feeling pretty good. My finances are okay and everything. And it came to me when I didn't need it.
So let's talk about this a little bit more, because this is something I've been starting to talk to people a little bit about more. When they want something or they need something. If you focus on I want or I need, then the universe says, oh, it's that feeling of wanting, which means that you don't have, or I need. You can feel like how the energy doesn't even feel good just saying it. So it's like, oh, you want to feel more wanting, more need? Let's create more circumstances. So you're going to want it more. You're going to need it more instead of, like you said, being it. If you're being it, you have it, you embody that. So then more of that shows up because you're already in that space, as opposed to, because the universe is hearing that you want. So it's the feeling of want, because you're like, I really want it. So you want,
and there's a lot of resistance there. There's resistance.
There's a lot of it. Just like with need, if you really need something, then need is an elevated emotion, and you're very focused, your clear intention with an elevated emotion of need brings you more neediness. And so whether it's money, whether it's love, whether it's a job, whether it's an experience, whether it's, it doesn't matter what the thing is, that feeling of need is just going to grow and expand, which doesn't feel good, but that's where you're putting your clear intention is on the need. So if you can let go of the need and go, just know that it's done. And so talk a little bit about how you, because obviously there's what we hear Dr. Joe telling us, which is very loud and clear. And then there's the inner dialogue that we tell ourselves. And as we have, you know, thoughts and emotions, which are the conditioning of the past, we have to manage that in the now so that those don't continue on in the now and the moving forward. So would you give us a little insight about that?
About needing and.
Yeah. So like, as you recognize, it's like, you know, I'm doing this and it's like, I need, no, wait a minute, I don't need, how did you manage? Like, what was your self-talk like? Because I think,
okay, so I'm a fairy tale photographer. Okay. That's what I do for a living. I'm a fairy tale photographer. I create magical worlds for people. And then I give these unique experiences to kids of all ages, young or old. So that's my world, everything that has to do with fairy tales. So I've been wanting to not work as hard because I have this digital course that I've been creating now for some time, but with the digital course, like I wanted to be dedicated to it 100%, not having to, you know, to be in the work or doing studio work. So, you know, that's why I wanted to manifest more abundance, because I wanted time. I wanted more time just to be free, to be able to create this, to impact more people and to create more. I call myself a fairy godmother because that's what people call me, because I have this fairy tale business to create more fairy godmothers. So that's where that wanted of you know, wanting abundance came from, but I didn't need it. Like I had money in the bank, I had saved, we're doing great. We like we're good, you know, we have more than enough. So that's how I managed that, and you know, just not wanting and needing. I wasn't in a state of like that I needed it because or else we were going to starve or we were not going to work, we were going to lose something, you know. It's just something that I had a desire for, but since my bank account wasn't depleted, you know, we're doing good, I was able to manage being in those constant states of unlack, not lack, but
Uh-huh.
Abundance, abundance and freedom. And so.
Wow. So it seems like just you're embracing the fact that you had enough, that you were good, that you were fine, that you were in a good place, opened you up to be more receptive of more of that. So that feeling has, well, obviously now, if you felt that you had more than enough and that you had abundance before and that you just wanted more freedom, as you felt more of that, then that's exactly what showed up was more money, more resources, so that now you in effect have more freedom and
Yes.
and you're able to, go to all the Dr. Joe events. Obviously, money is not an object. Actually, it never was an object, but now that you're aware that it really was never an object and how there is an infinite well of abundance that's there for you, now you can continue to follow your heart's desire, do your digital course, share more of the true nature of yourself like you're doing here right now. And it just that's going to continue growing and expanding,
Yes.
So what a beautiful, beautiful thing. And you really are a fairy godmother to anybody and everyone who's watching now. I've got, oh my gosh. So I've got Phil says, oh my gosh, I love your story. My goal is 250K. Thank you for sharing. And then he also says, it was 10K he wanted to manifest for a Europe trip. He kept seeing the money being transferred. His name was Robert, and he loved that story. I guess the guy that we talked about, that was a Dr. Joe student who manifested also 500,000 like you did. His name was Robert. And he said he's so excited. He said he's so excited, laugh out loud, because he's rich, laugh out loud. He's excited about your story too. Thank you. Thank you, Phil, for commenting on that. And Sunday, oh my gosh, Sunday, yeah. And Sunday says he's cute and he's rich too. So very cool, very cool. So these are awesome insights and manifestations. And it just shows you how, not just what Dr. Joe is teaching us, but also Dr. Joe is great at molding and dovetailing the science along with the mystical teachings.
I love that. That's what attracted me.
I absolutely love that too, because we know that physicists have, they can measure light, one photon at a time. Yeah. And they talk about how the particles in we've got the observer effect where science experiments, if you're observing it, the particles can actually rearrange based on the intention and expectation of the observer. It'll go from the particles that they're arranged in, and they can go back into waveforms of energy and reorganize into whatever the expectation is, which is great for us because now we have science that says, yeah, when you look at things at a molecular level, they're not just hard particle, but they're particle and waveforms of energy, and they morph back and forth, depending on where your attention is. So even like, a block of wood, we've seen plenty of martial artists who, 2-inch block of wood that you and I normally, we would go to hit that. There's no way our hand is going to go through it. Yeah. But with right tension, right attention, and intention, which is our intention is the inward attention, knowing that you can, and that even though it looks solid, there are grains that go up and down, which means that there are spaces in the other. So there is a vulnerability where you can actually break it through with the proper training and the proper strength. And so those particles can turn into waves and then collapse so that you can't put your hand through. And that's kind of what you did. It's like in the 5D realm, you were able to collapse the particles so that you allowed, because you were not resistant, you allowed that to come into the funnel, which we're going to call your bank account and your mail system, where now checks from, a lease from 10 years ago, we've all leased something, whether it's a car, maybe office furniture, maybe office equipment, copier machines, whatever. We've all leased something at some point. We've entered hundreds of contracts for whether, between houses and credit cards and all sorts of different things. There's, who knows, class action lawsuits that we're aware of, that we're not aware of. They're always taking place. So it can come, the energy of the divine will take the path of least resistance to get to you. So it took, I love the fact that you had a phone call, a text message, an email, and then you had 2 pieces of mail as well. And so all of this came into this particular amount. So you're the living embodiment of truth, as Dr. Joe would say. You are walking the walk, talking the talk. You're still in your high vibrational state. You're flesh and blood and bone, just like I am, and just like our viewers are, like Sunday is here. And the truth of the matter is that this is true and real for everybody. And as we, as babies, we are unconditionally happy as long as we're, we're not hungry, as long as we haven't soiled our little diapers, we're happy. We don't even need toys. We're just, looking up at everything is so novel, so new, so beautiful. Our natural state is joy. We're happy. We're laughing. We're playing with our toes, biting our fingers. Maybe even a baby blanket where, playing with a baby blanket, and we're just happy for no reason. There's no condition. We're just happy. And it's getting back to that place of joy where we're reason without condition. Dr. Joe talks about that unconditional love. And as we are in that unconditional place of being joyous and happy and exuberant and sharing those feelings and those emotions, and then take a clear intention, write down a figure, have the courage to have and to want what it is that you want, and write a number down. And if you were to have that, did you know, like in your case, you wrote 100, so awesome. You wanted 100, you got 500. So did you think about, when I get the 100, or with that 100,000, these are the things that I'd like to do. This is what I want to, of course I want the freedom so that I can create the things that I want. But were there other things that you wanted to be able to do with that 100 grand?
No, I just wanted to buy time so I can create this, to create.
Wow.
I just buy time, buy more time to be able to create. That's the goal.
So, oh my gosh. So you did it. You did it. And now you're creating all this stuff. And here you are sharing your story, doing your as soon as your digital products are done, you need to reach out to me, because we will love to have a show here where we share with you what your actual digital project is and your launch and all that, where people can get a hold of it. We'll love to help you promote it. But there are people who are actively looking for your digital product who are like, where is it? Where is it? So you guys are co-creating it. They're, putting that energy of like, we want this. And you're like, yes, I have the free time now. Now I can finish it. So do let us know, because we'll have you back on and we'll have you share that, because that's another wonderful manifestation that I know is going to magically and effortlessly unfold for you, with an incredible number of people are going to benefit from it. So it's very exciting.
Yes.
Is there any other manifestation that you had as a result of this or since then that you would like to share?
Oh, it's another good one. Gosh, I am just so.
Another good one.
It's more valuable on the first one because it's related to health. We spoke about the money manifestation, but this was a miraculous healing I had recently. I was a Healy. Like I haven't told anybody this story because I'm kind of like sitting it out, just making sure like nothing's gonna happen, like it's gonna stay, or like I've never had a miraculous healing, but yes, this is invaluable, right? Because there's no amount of money that can buy your health, and that can restore you to wholeness, or can restore you to your original, or your, they can operate on you, but it doesn't mean you're going to be restored to, your body. But so I was a Healy at the Turkey event that just happened September.
Just happened, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it just happened, maybe October. Okay, so I was a Healy. I have prolapsed pelvic floor. Mm-hmm. It's called prolapsed pelvic floor. It's quite common in women my age. I'm 43 that have had big babies. I had a 10-pound baby, and then So like when you have it, nothing happens, blah blah blah. But then within time, like your pelvic floor kind of like prolapses, kind of like drops. And then it's uncomfortable because you do feel some type of bulging down there, like a bulge. And then so I've been doing the Botic meditations for that. And then I participate. This was my second time being a Healy. But this time, I remember in the third healing meditation, I felt something like pulling up, like contracting back to, like I say it's contracting back to its original form or shape. And then I haven't felt that bulge now for almost 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. So
Wow.
I'm thinking I'm healed, It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's too soon. I mean, this is all not, it's not something known to me. I don't know how to react. I don't know how to explain it, but I just know that before the healing, it was there. I was sometimes even, my bladder was even leaking a little bit. It was starting to leak a little bit. I was being more uncomfortable because I have a bulge down there. And there it was, and now it isn't. It's like I felt the energy when I was being healed go through my body and circulate. And I remember Dr. Joe's words very, very clear that he said, "You're worthy. Just remember you're worthy." When he talks to us Heelys and when we start the meditation, to be healed, he said something very important. He said, "Forgive like you would like to be forgiven for anything that you have done. Forgive as you would like to be forgiven, and feel worthy." And that I took it to heart. I've been feeling worthy since January in Cancun, like extremely worthy, right? But just continue feeling worthy, that I'm worth it, and that yes, I can be healed. Yes, it's for me. Why not me? Yes, I'm here, and just let go and surrender completely. My arms out, my heart open, nowhere, no time, no place, just let go. Not me trying to do anything, just the divine working through me and love, those patterns of love stacking on me did it. And it's huge because to like, I don't even know how doctors fix a prolapsed pelvic floor. It's the floor. It's not like an organ only. It's like, I heard they put like a mesh or something, but it's the floor.
That's actually got complications because it's a Band-Aid. It's good just for a bit. And then a few years later, because it's a foreign material, there's a whole lot of other problems, which there's lawsuits right now because of that too, which is kind of really sad. But and if anybody is on this broadcast and you are watching and you have that circumstance, know that through these healing meditations that Dr. Joe does, there isn't anything that can't be healed. We've seen people. There was a guy, I think his name was Nigel from the UK, who had 50 metastasized stage 4 cancerous tumors in his brain, 50. And then he had 8 lung tumors, and he was healed instantly, just like she was healed, and how she manifested the 500,000. Meditations work for everything. So people who've had any kind of exposure to any kind of toxin in any way, shape, or form, doctors can't unring that bell. It doesn't matter. You can unring that bell. You can have a biological upgrade where you become whole again, like she's saying, where surgery can only heal it so much, but you're whole and complete now. You don't have the issues with your prolapsed, pelvic floor anymore, which, what a relief to not have that pain and that inconvenience and discomfort of any kind of leaking or anything. That's got to be, it's extraordinary.
And like, I've tested it, like I've sat in the bathroom for like 40 minutes, because the gravity, like it does its job, right? So I've sat in the bathroom like for 40 minutes, like just making sure,
everything is good.
Can I tell somebody, like, it's because it's so miraculous, right? It's so miraculous. It's beautiful. It's miraculous. So, I've even like seen like, do I feel something? I'm like, no, nothing. I felt nothing. I believe with my heart, I have been fully restored. But then again, I have been doing the work. It's not like I showed up to a healing, or I showed up and then all of a sudden, boom. Like I know there's some people that have had that happen, where they go to their first event and they're healed.
Yeah, I've
Um,
seen.
I'm a little more hard-headed. I guess I have more baggage, more, I don't know, but it didn't happen till after the fifth event. I've been doing Botech almost every night. Blessing of the energy centers. Like, I've had to show up a lot for it to happen. And but I totally felt that I'm worth it, that I'm worthy of receiving, and did it with all my heart. So.
And I think that's the key. You did it with all your heart, and you were willing to embrace and know that you really are worthy, and that you're worthy of receiving these gifts in all its forms. It came in, the manifestation of energy, which is the 500,000, and it manifested again in energy, where you actually felt the energy pulling up and resetting your body so that it was whole and complete again. So now the bulge is gone. All of that is now something of the past.
It is.
Now you just continue to create and manifest, have wonderful mystical experiences. And you're in the process of creating this digital content now as a fairy godmother.
Yes.
There's only one way but up. You're just going to keep on milking that wonderful, juicy feeling that we're both feeling right now, of joy, excitement, of appreciation, gratitude, and also a profound sense of awe.
Yes.
That it's really taken us a whole lifetime to go from how we started, we got away from it, and then to come back full circle. I'm not saying in any stretch that I don't think that I'm like done, I've arrived. No, because I think this, life is a journey and things happen in life. And so it's a matter of knowing that we embrace this now, and we know now the formula. We've practiced it. Practice. This is a practice. This is a practice you will do till you take your last breath. And this is so much better than the familiar past of how we used to be. It's like,
yes.
I already did that way. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way, because this is a much purer, more loving, more joyous, more exciting, more magical way of existing. And then another bonus is that we keep on meeting genius mystic healers like you meeting me and me meeting you. It's like there's an incredible community of people. It's like there's just extraordinary humans all over the planet. And the more people who decide, I want that, I want to do that, I want to experience that. The thing is, if you're thinking or feeling, I want to do, I want to think, I want to experience that, it's because you have it in you already. And then you just allow it in as you seek it, then you find it, and then you embody it. That's what we all did. You and I did. And that's what
Yes.
Dr. Joe did. And so we just keep in that, knowing that that's our truth. So Michelle, are there any parting words that you want to leave us with?
Yes. When somebody asks me for advice, I always tell them, remain conscious. I try to remain conscious all day. That's my work. I wake up and then I start remembering the past. Sometimes I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Remember your future. That clear vision of your future, girl. And I steer the boat. And then in the middle of the day, I might start judging someone like, man, they're I don't know, like that something, judging for any reason. I'm like, oh no, you don't. No, you don't. You know what kind of state that's going to put you in? That's going to kill all your manifestations. That's going to put you in a bad place to attract. You're not going to vibrate. Like, oh my God, I'm constantly talking to myself now, being the observer. And I'm like hitting my hand. I'm like, no, you don't judge. No, you don't do this. It's like so many bad habits I have, culturally, that's what we do. We're loud, we're we're loud, we like to judge. I don't know, culturally, in my culture, at least what I've always done, but I'm like, no, 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 don't do that. You're gonna fall, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. And sometimes I catch myself and I've gone too far and I already put myself in a bad mood, or like today I started screaming at my husband and I was pretty mean to him. And I'm all like, okay, you're permitted, but let's see how fast you can bounce back. So I'm all like, okay, honey, you know what? I am so sorry. I was so mean to you today. I was mean to you. I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean to you. I'm sorry. And he's like, okay. But it's like, my job, my full-time, like as soon as I wake up, I'm like, no judging, no fighting, no, like I'm supervising myself, you know, because I have to keep myself in a good vibrational state to be able to create all the things of my heart's desire.
So this is what Dr. Joe talks about. You know, first we're seekers, where we're seeking the truth. We're looking, searching, wanting to find. And then you become an initiate, which then you start doing the practices so that you start to let go of the familiar past. It doesn't mean that you never have a negative thought. No, you're still a human being. We live on a plane of polarities, of course. But now you're a master because you mastered yourself enough to recognize you are the awareness. No, that judgy, critical, angry, mean, cruel, whatever, that part of you that is what we could call our shadow side. But you're aware enough, you've mastered your ego enough to realize, how quickly can I bounce back? I recognize in the moment, ooh, that is not the most shining, glorious place that I could be in. That is not a loving self for me to even be in, let alone for me to do to another human being. Okay, I'm gonna reel it back. And it's like, no. And then you were loving enough to yourself and to your husband to say, oh, you know what, honey, I'm sorry. That's Dr. Joe calls that falling from grace. It's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I was kind of mean to you. I shouldn't have said this way. There's probably a better way to express this, you know, and then you fix it. And now you're staying as that conscious awareness.
Conscious awareness. That's what I do.
You stay as a conscious awareness. So like Dr. Joe says, and this is proven by science. When you get angry, the chemicals of anger are only present in your bloodstream for 90 seconds at a time. So if you're angry for more than 90 seconds at a time, you're faking it. Because in order for you to feel angry more than 90 seconds, that means that you have to do that feedback loop over and over and over again with thoughts and feelings to keep that going on and on and on. So you're faking it. That's not real. So you can feel the anger, and maybe it takes you 180 seconds. Maybe it takes you 3 minutes. Maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nothing is time. But whatever amount of time it takes you, the moment you realize, it's like, wait a minute, no. I'm going to hit the pause button, put the ego in timeout, brain do as I say. I'm going to slow down my breath. I'm going to slow down because I'm going to change my state. And if you stand up straight or sit up straight, now you are the master, not the servant of your ego and your brain.
Yes.
And that's what you did. And that's what you're doing. And that's all we can hope. Hope is a beggar, so I'm not going to use, but that's all we can choose, because we have free will. We can choose, use our freedom to choose to respond with ability. And now we continue forward. And it's just a much better feeling and more prosperous plane of existence. So
yes.
So my sister from another mister. You are remarkable. You are amazing. And I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing your whole story here, how you have manifested these things. And you got to promise me that you're going to come back soon.
Oh, yeah.
Another juicy manifestation you want to share, you're going to come back and share with us this. And also if you have another manifestation, or if you have an incredible mystical experience, and definitely as soon as this digital content, this digital thing that you're creating, the moment it's ready, girlfriend, you can pick up the phone and say, hey, Lil, it's time to share this and time to go out with it. So let me know. Okay.
Yes, definitely. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to, say my story, and this feels so good, just being able to maybe bring a little bit of light or hope or
Encouragement.
I don't know, another positive feeling to another human being that there is more out there. There's a lot of magic in this world. It's everybody is entitled to it. There's a lot of magic. You just got to tap into it and remain conscious, conscious, conscious. That's the game.
Yeah, remain conscious, conscious, conscious. Wonderful. All right. Well, my love to you. And as always, all my friends and gems, thank you for tuning in, tapping in, turning on to loving.
Thank you, Lillian. Have a good night.
Beautiful Michelle from Denver. Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.